All right, guys, are you ready? We're going to become outlaws or even legends.
Robin Hood and Little John.
All right, guys, we're talking about Hood, Outlaws, and Legends. This is a new spin on a PvPvE game where, yeah, basically, Nate, you nailed it. It is Robin Hood and Little John, and what essentially, I guess, would be Friar Tuck in a sense.
Yeah,
this
more intense Friar Tuck and Marianne.
Yeah, exactly, right? So we're in the band of brothers with Robin Hood and his whole gang of merry men, and we're out to steal from the sheriff and give back to the poor, or keep it for yourself. Dude, there's so many things behind this game. I love the concept. I love the characters to a certain degree, but we have a ton of issues. And one of the glaring issues we had just before even playing this game is the fact that the cross-play is a system that doesn't work. It is Xbox, where you are all on Xbox. It is also on PlayStation, and it's on PC. Xbox is linked with PC. Why it isn't linked with the actual console, being PlayStation, I have no idea. But to me, we sit there and we wait and we wait. And Nate and I played the other night. We waited twice. We sat through 2 rounds of 300 seconds as it counted down and then timed out. And then Nate says, all right, dude, I'm just going to bounce. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And then I got in. It was instant. Like, and then we did the same thing. We took the crossplay off just before we played now. And it didn't work. We had to put crossplay back on in order to play against PC players.
And Xbox players.
And an Xbox player, right? That was the other side of it. We played with an Xbox player too. It's just like, I don't understand. The matchmaking is what's holding this game back. And for me, it is the stealth mechanic. The fact that it isn't the same when you fight off the E side, like the actual AI characters, the NPCs, because you can kill them from the front in the stealth mode. You can kill them from the side and you can kill them from the back. But when it comes to the PvP side of that, you have to get them from behind. You can't get them from the side and you can't get them in front. And to me, that just blows me away how they changed that stealth element within the game when it works on one aspect and not the other. To me, I love the game, but guys, it has a ton of problems. Corey, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know what? You kind of introduced this one to us. Like, I remember when they first talked about this game being released and, you get a bit of this cinematic trailer and it's like, this seems like a cool idea for a game, right? How is this execution really going to play out? And honestly, I mean, this game looks great. This is the style of game you want to play. This is the way you want it to look for what we're playing through here, right? It's kind of got that old-timey, medieval, realistic feel to it. I feel like the levels are very sprawling. I think we play about 4 or 5 levels right now. Yeah. And honestly, I mean, there's new turns and new, everything around. I mean, you're turning around and you're trying to, spawn in different points, and we're capturing areas to try to control, whether it be a castle or sometimes it may be a church or something we're fighting through. I mean, there's a lot going on in this game, but it is simplistic in its approach. We have only 4 characters to choose from here, and they are class-based. We have Little John, right? He's got the sledgehammer, he's the close combat tank, and he plays that way. But I did find the melee to be kind of clunky in this game right now. There is a block and parry aspect that the timing seems off for some reason, if you guys know what I mean. Yep. Every character has a melee ability, whether it be just a punch or something with a weapon, and it all feels just a little disjointed. I mean, it's there and it, you want it to feel better than it does, but it just kind of, it is a little janky for me. And honestly, I'm playing as Robin mostly, so I'm, the sniper, I'm the archer, so I don't do a ton of hand-to-hand combat, but when I am doing it, I feel like, it's not really that effective. I'm not doing that much. When I make a connection, it doesn't feel like anything, right? So it's just, there are things here that are missing. This game has kind of this great backbone, and I honestly think the longer this game sticks around, and if the community can stay behind it, it's going to be one of those things that I think will improve to be better. I mean, they've laid out a pretty good roadmap, kind of coming up to this. Nate, I'm not going to get into too much before we get through our first thoughts here. What did you think of this one?
Well, man, initial thoughts, kind of like you said, man, bare bones. I mean, you got 4 characters, 5 maps. That isn't bare bones, in my opinion. There's a lot of depth to these maps. Some of them are really big.
Yes.
And like you said, there's all these zones, and it's all about kind of controlling the map and then bringing the chest to typically closer to your spawn if you can. But if you don't, that's when controlling those capture points are essential. But man, the jankiness, man. Like, we spent way too much time matchmaking just to not find matches. So this does need to get nabbed for it, unfortunately. This is, we played Outriders, and that's kind of the most recent thing that I could compare it to.
Sure.
And it's been a complete mess. So
Yep.
what I was saying to you guys kind of off screen is, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it's with the next gen and previous gen, all these different platforms. I don't know if this has kind of created a hole in the new coding that they need to work on and refine, or if it's just like a lack of funds, so to speak, I guess.
Sure.
So that's just so frustrating, man, because you want to play this game and it's only a multiplayer game with one mode. And when you can't play it, then, well, that's a really big issue.
Well,
but
okay.
Corey, I got to kind of touch up on one thing that you said too, the combat. It is like, I'm going to compare it to For Honor, and I kind of feel a little reluctant to, but it's what a lot of people are comparing it to. Yeah. And man, it is very clunky. Like, the block or the parry sometimes is very just inconsistent. The assassinate, again, sometimes I swear I'm right behind you, man. I pressed X and it just didn't work, and then they just somehow easily get me. But that all to say, when you get in a match and you're playing with 3 other friends, which is essential, playing with a team that you are communicating with is essential. It is a ton of fun, man. We were having a great time, especially just before this review. We played a match, actually.
Yeah.
Well,
but
let's touch on what the game actually is. All right. So basically, you are 4 outlaws or legends, depending on the premise of which way you want to take it. Your goal is to go in, steal the key from the sheriff. From there, find the vault, and then grab the chest, bring it back to your point, and then hoist it over top the wall and take all the gold. Right. Cool premise. Honestly, we haven't had anything like this before. And then you tie in the whole Robin Hood-esque feel of it all. Then you go back to your hideout, which I would have loved to have seen to be able to upgrade your hideout. So you can level up your hideout, but you don't upgrade your hideout, right? There's 2 different things here. So you level up, which then it only allows you to unlock certain outfits. And let's touch on the outfits, because basically they're just different colors. Yeah. There are
another bare bones mechanic or
exactly
part of this game.
Well, I think it's there because what's coming is the battle pass, and that's where you're going to really see some new and creative ways of customizing your outlaws or legends, right? I think that's where we're going to really see it. They have a 3-season battle pass already planned, which is something I'm glad to see that they're already foreseeing the future of how they want this game to be, because a lot of games come out and they go, here it is. It's done. Way you go. Yeah. And then you're out.
In 6 months, we'll maybe get something.
Well, exactly, right? Then you have nothing else to do. But the problem, what we're doing now is we are waiting to find out when this battle pass drops. And then the new outlaw is going to come with it as well. So they do have another outlaw in the works. She is coming, but that's all we know. I'm already looking for another outlaw to play as. We want to have some variety in there. Everybody sees the same ones over and over and over. And I think that's kind of the downfall to the game as well. So the fact is that there's only 4 characters to choose from.
Yeah, I kind of want to touch on the battle pass again real quick, Drew. I like the fact that they have laid it all out, right? It kind of gives you a bit of reassurance, a peace of mind that, they're not just going to leave you in the dust when it comes to the development of this game. Yeah. I mean, the fact is, we only have these 4 characters. We're all learning how this game plays. We're learning how these maps are laid out, where the chest's going to spawn, where the vault's going to be. I mean, so it's going to take a little bit of time for us to get used to this. So if they can at least introduce this newer content, at a consistent basis, I think this game will grow with the player base and people will be able to enjoy it, right? Because you just keep adding in just maybe a new level or a redesign on a level, maybe new spawn points in the same level as you bring in a new outlaw every once in a while. while, right? And you kind of keep it on a consistent basis. I think this game really has the legs to go somewhere, especially if, honestly, I feel like if they can add another game mode in, I don't know what it would be necessarily, but just something with to add just a little bit more variety. Because honestly, when you're playing through these games, the PvE aspects is almost harder than the PvP aspects, because these guys are tough, man. They're tanks, and you have to be sneaky. They alert really easily in this one, and that honestly, that kind of adds to the heart beating in this one. I mean, you're running around and you get spotted, then you're aggro in half the castle, and you're trying to find your team. I mean, this one gets wild in a hurry, and that's what makes it so much fun. But again, we've pointed out some pretty glaring issues that they need to get fixed, and the biggest one is the matchmaking. If you can't connect players to play, then there's going to be no game to play.
Absolutely. All right, guys, I think we become legends in this one. What are we going to score it? Nate, you kick it off.
All right, man. So with the glaring matchmaking issues and I want to say sort of bare bones content, this is going to get a 6 for me. But when that first battle pass drops and the new Outlaw, I'm going to have to say, people, check this one out. What about you, Corey?
You know what? I think we may do kind of maybe a revisit on this once the battle pass drops, or at least just a peek at it once we see that content and what we're getting, right? But honestly, as the game stands right now, I'm having a lot of fun, especially when the 4 of us are playing, we're jumping in, we're communicating, everything's kind of working out, we're all being different characters. It's a good time. But to get to that point, oh my goodness, man, it's tough, right? But honestly, this game has the bones, I think, to be really solid, and I just want to see it succeed. But I can't give it any more than a 6.5. What about you, Drew?
Yeah, no, I mean, man, I get it. I want to go higher, but I can't, right? There's two aspects to the game, the bare bone emptiness side of it, and the fact that when you customize your character, you're really just changing out your color for the most part, right? There is no battle pass yet. It would have been nice to see the battle pass drop day and day with the game. But when you get into the game, and if you can get into the game, I guess is the other part, right? That's the biggest struggle, is getting into the game, especially with a crew. But once you're in, dude, you're just in for an experience like no other. And it is an absolute blast. I love it. But it's hard to recommend because we have such a struggle to get in. And yet there's still some very high empty aspects to the game. And for me, yeah, it puts me there with a 6.5.
The forest sends its hearts.
Great multiplayer idea with a visually pleasing environment, but the limited character choices and no console crossplay holds this one back for now. But improvements could see this game rise to the top.